Movies can have a lasting impression on you and bring back great memories. Certain images you will always remember. Things that have been with me all my life and keep getting added to with every movie I see.
I will turn this place into the fucking Wild Bunch if I think you are fucking with me.
E.T. phone home.
This is the end of your rotten life, you motherfucking dope pusher!
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Welcome to my Cellular Heart Podcast, Season 4, Episode 156. On this podcast, we take two movies that live in our head and heart and put them together over two episodes by one topic or theme. There will be spoilers. I'm your host, Phillip Duke, and I am here with...
his cousin Chip. Hello, everybody.
That's right. It's not Brant this time.
No.
So Chip had a busy week last week. He went to Beach Boys. What concert? No, all of a sudden I forgot who they were. Backstreet Boys.
The Backstreet Boys?
That's right. So,
well, first we went to, before that we went to go see Brooks and Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple days in between, and then there was Backstreet Boys, and then there was just all this that I forgot about that I agreed to 4 months prior to going to the 3 days in a row pretty much of rodeo stuff. And the third day, or at least wasn't rodeo, it was going to see a concert basically. At least we didn't have to drive 2 hours away. Mm-hmm. The other two concerts we had to drive 2 hours away.
Ouch.
This time it was just in the same place that we went to the rodeo, so that was nice.
Yeah. Well, and when you told me that you had agreed to go to the fair, I thought it was to go to the fair, not to, because then you were like, now we're in a rodeo. And I'm like, oh, he didn't know about the rodeo. It was like an extra thing, like, let's go over here. And then they're like, we love it. And then you're like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That son of a... Yeah.
But it all worked out, and we're back. And are you ready to get on with the show?
Hell yeah, let's do this.
All right.
His name is Cobra. He's a cop. He believes that victims have rights and that crime's a disease. He's the cure. They call him Cobra, the strong arm of the law. Stallone is Cobra. Rated R. Opens this week at a theater near you.
Cobra, 1986. The plot: a tough-on-crime street cop must protect the only surviving witness to a strange, murderous cult with far-reaching plans. Stars Sylvester Stallone as Lieutenant Marion Cobretti. So the supporting cast and extras were forbidden from talking to Stallone on set.
Wow. So,
later on, we'll get to it, but, it sucked because, the main bad guy was like, how am I playing? You're just evil. You're just evil. And it's like, I want to kind of, come on, but he was too busy with his new girlfriend and all that, whatever.
Wow.
Let me ask real quick, can you hear my TV in the other room?
Nope.
Okay, because I can, but it's not recording. Good. Okay. So Bridget Nielsen as Ingrid Knudsen. And so I remember you'd watch it and be like, oh, she's so beautiful. And now you go,
I had a crush on her big time back then.
Yeah, it was like, oh, she was
but
in
what was it, years
Beverly
ago?
Hills Cop 2.
Yep. But it was 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, I think, that she was with Flavor Flav on that
on
show,
Celebrity.
whatever.
Yeah.
And you saw how fucked up she was in the head and how crazy, and I was like, oh my God, she just went downhill big time.
That's what I was telling Brant. She had a drinking problem, and then there's pictures of her in the park where she's almost passed out drinking vodka.
Yeah.
It's real weird. But trust me, I looked up nude pictures of her from back in the day. Yeah. So I had to do that.
Yeah. No, I read something
Chip
about
did
her.
too. He's like, honey, don't come in here. You need to not watch this movie. It's very violent. Nude pictures of Bridget Nielsen.
Yep. No, when you look her up now, I guess she apparently had a baby at 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's her fifth child or something, and she's doing really good with her husband that she's been with for basically since Flavor Flav thing ended.
Yeah.
The guy that she's been with, that guy ever since, and they've had a few children and stuff. So I guess she's doing good.
That's cool. That's always good. Oops, sorry
Yeah.
for all the banging, but I was moving the microphone. No, that's always good. Yeah, I hope she's all better. Rennie Santoni as Sergeant Tony Gonzalez, who we love. He was in. There's two people from Dirty Harry in here.
Oh yeah.
And it just reminded me of when Dirty Harry's just like making jokes about Mexicans, and though that he's picking on him, like that's his new partner and that's what he does, and like it's very cool. Andrew Robinson as Detective Monty, again, Dirty Harry, the bad guy. Like I'm thinking if I was Brian Thompson, I would have went to that guy and been like, okay, how did you play that evil guy? Like I want to do that. Like you did great.
They did amazing.
And he'll be like, I had a better director called Don Siegel. Brian Thompson as Night Slasher. So Thompson recounts wanting to discuss his character with Stallone to get some insight into his motivation and backstory. Stallone, Thompson says, was dismissive of this, simply telling him the Night Slasher was just evil and nothing more. Once Cobra made it to screens, Thompson didn't even get an invite to the premiere and wound up having to buy a ticket to see the film with a regular audience. Years later, Thompson got Stallone back years later by writing, directing, and starring in 2014's The Expendables, a spoof of Stallone's The Expendables, in case that wasn't apparent.
Yeah.
John Hersfeld as Cho, Lee Garlington as Nancy Stock, who looks like Rizzo from Grease. Like I'm like, is that what's her name? What's Rizzo's name? Chip, come on, help me. Stockard Channing. She looks like her, and then I'm like, oh, it's not. What?
Well, what's funny is he also casted her in The Expendables.
Oh, that's. I didn't notice that. Oh, that's awesome. Art LaFleur as Captain Sears. That's our guy from Air America. Yep. And I think he was he in Major League?
Oh, yeah. I think so, maybe.
Or maybe it was just that gruff guy. Hey, welcome to Major League. Remember, he had a real rough voice. But anyway.
I was just telling my wife when we were at the show, at the fair.
Mm.
I was like walking along and I just started giggling. And she's like, what are you giggling about? And I go, just me being me. In my head, all I was hearing was, hey, cowgirls, the way it works is the train moves and not the station.
What was that from?
A League of Their Own.
Oh, see, that's a very good one. I've only seen that movie once, maybe twice, because everybody talks so great about it. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I love Tom Hanks does great in it. They all do great in it, but I'm like, I don't know. I like
it was John Lovitz when he was getting the girls.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Marco Rodriguez as Supermarket Killer. Ross St. Phillip as Security Guard. I don't know why he's up here. I wrote down a lot of names. Val Avery as Chief Hallowell. David Rash as Dan, which Chip was like, hey, there's Sledgehammer. He was a photographer.
Sledgehammer.
Nick Angadi as Prodsky. So it was written by Paula Gosling. She wrote the novel Fair Game. And then Sylvester Stallone wrote the screenplay. I had a problem saying his name last time. Sylvester Stallone. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Sylvester Stallone wrote the screenplay. So the novel Fair Game by Paula Gosling was cited as source material, enough so that she received a screen credit. When Cobra was released, Stallone allegedly wanted the novel to be reissued with himself credited as co-author. Gosling declined the offer. The 95 movie Fair Game was also based on the same novel by Gosling. So you can see where she's a model, he's a cop, Sylvester Stallone early draft of the script contained many differences from later drafts and the final film. These include the opening shootout taking place in a movie theater instead of a grocery store, during which many more people are killed. Cobra mentioning how he had a girlfriend who was killed by a psychopath he was trying to catch. An additional big nighttime action sequence on a boat where Cobra and Ingrid are hiding and are attacked by the Night Slashers cult members, with Cobra and Gonzalez managing to kill them all and a different ending in which it's revealed. Here we go. This is why. So Brant wrote me. He was like, "There's no characters, nothing. Like it's just loose. It's a real loose movie." And that's because they had to edit it down because later you'll find out it was going to be X-rated. So at the end, it was revealed that Monty was the actual leader of the New World cult. So our bad guy from Dirty Harry, he was the leader. And that's why when you're watching the movie and he's going, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing. And you're going, he's trying to pull Cobra in another direction.
Yeah.
And when he tries to kill Ingrid, he is shot and killed by Cobra. So, and
crazy. That is there a director's cut out there somewhere? I want the.
There's a bootleg VHS that they say you can find.
Just one.
It's a little, yeah. Everybody's passing it around.
Hollywood.
It's a little rough. It's rough looking, and it's got some sync sound. It's got not sync sound. It's got temp score in it because they didn't have score at the time. But yeah, it seems like. Well, for one, what I said on the show that you weren't on was Stallone was chosen to be in Beverly Hills Cop. And then he had these ideas of, oh, what if my character is this? I do this, and I have this. And then they were like, 2 weeks before filming, they were like, he dropped out.
Yeah.
Which is better for all of us. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And then they choose Eddie Murphy, and it fucking works. Directed by George P. Cosmatos. Cobra needed a lot of additional editing because the film was so graphically violent that at first it received an X rating from the MPAA. Warner Brothers also did not like the level of gore and violence of the first rough cut, which is why they would not release the film until most of these scenes were deleted and it received an R rating. So I don't know if you know, the original RoboCop was going to be X-rated. Midnight Cowboy was X-rated because it was, about gay hustlers. And so there's some regular movies. Street Fighter, the original, the Sonny Chiba. Also, at one point during filming, Stallone complained to cinematographer Rick Waite that they were falling behind and that he needed to push his crew to work harder. Waite responded by telling Stallone that the delays were due to his fooling around with Bridget Nielsen and showing off for his bodyguards. Although Stallone was shocked that somebody would talk to him that way, he cleaned up his act and behaved more professionally, although he returned to his old egocentric behavior a few weeks later. Waite later said in an interview, so that was all from an interview, and then he also said in an interview that despite his huge ego, Stallone had a great sense of humor. He said George P. Cosmatos would have made a great producer, but he was a terrible director. Which is weird, but I know it doesn't run in your blood. Sometimes certain things do, but I'm getting ready to get to this. Finally, Cosmatos passed away in 2005, and in case you didn't know it, his son Panos Cosmatos is the director of acclaimed Nicolas Cage horror movie Mandy. Mandy is so out there. Like, if you could ever see it, Chip, see it. It's so out there, but this guy has a vision, and it's crazy. And the word was, I don't know if I put it in my thing, but is that Kurt Russell re-edited or whatever, or directed some of Tombstone because Cosmatos sucked. And same thing here. And it's like, but Stallone pulled him over here because he liked him. They did, Rambo 2 together. So he was like, okay, but yeah, so, but anyway. Are you ready to get to recasted? Chip's favorite part. He hates everything else except for this.
Exactly.
All right. How dare you? So I got Lieutenant Marion Cobretti, Jason Statham.
Okay, sweet.
Because, Stallone in this is such a dick. At the time, you're like, I want to be that guy. I want to be, I wanted to be a cop like that. Till I realized you can't, which I'll talk about later. Sergeant Tony Gonzalez, Michael Pena, had to pick our stereotypical Mexican guy. Ingrid Knudsen, Ana de Armas, because she was a model, and then she came. But the age difference, that's why I was like, So are you ready for my night slasher?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I did. I said, I said, I said,
Oh,
John
he's got to
Cena.
do a setup. He's got to do a setup.
Of course. I said, John Cena'd be good. And I go, no, because he can't be mean like that. I go, The Rock would be great. I go, The Rock's like big and, but I go, he couldn't either because you wouldn't believe it because you like The Rock being a nice guy. And then I'm like, then I even was like, maybe even you bring in Hulk Hogan. He could be fucking mean. I'm like, that'd be good.
Awesome.
And then all of a sudden, a voice hit my head, and it was Brock Lesnar. I was like, he's got a big dumb head, and he's just could be mean. Like, yeah, I'll take him.
That's awesome.
So, what do you got?
I could see him doing it too, like the shots from the side where he's just like, like being all like, and him saying "pig"
With the black,
pig.
yeah,
That would be awesome.
color in his hair. Yeah, the best part of this movie is Brian Thompson.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, and our Mexican guy, he's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I could use some gummy bears. Go ahead.
I could kill for some. I like the pause.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, for Cobra, I have Sebastian Stan.
Cool. Okay. Playing that same, you wouldn't change a character. You'd still have him in black with the gloves, cutting pizza with the scissors.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
I guess we'll just jump to Ingrid real fast because we already know that Ana de Armas is Ingrid.
Yeah.
Because I automatically thought of her, after I was sitting there for a while, I couldn't think of anybody, thinking about a model. And then it just popped in my head that everybody's talking about her playing Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. There's the trailer out there already. Yeah, it's a thing of, and I did Sergeant Tony Gonzalez next, before Ingrid. But
I know. Just jumped.
Oh, okay. That's why you could see when they're doing Fair Game in the 90s, like who's the biggest person? Oh, it's Cindy Crawford. Boom.
Yeah.
So, and she's naked in that movie, topless. Anyway,
that's all he cares about, people.
It's things where you go and see a movie and you're like, holy shit, like Cindy Crawford's naked in this movie? I never saw her naked. And then, of course, she did photo shoots naked, but,
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. For Gonzalez, I have Diego Luna.
Diego Luna. Oh, I like him. Andor. I love that guy. He's been in, other people may only know him from like Rogue One, but he's in a bunch of stuff. He's in Amaros Perros, I believe. Anyway.
All right. And for my night slasher,
I would have put Roddy Piper as a bad guy, but he's dead. But Roddy Piper would be fucking badass. He's little. He'd match up with Stallone. He could fight.
Yeah, that's true.
Wrestle in a sandbox.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Which one's that? Oh, yeah. Interesting. And he was evil in fucking Bad Times at El Royale. You're like,
that's what made me think of it. That he could go total psycho with a blade.
So was this easy for you to come up? Because Brant was like, it was like homework when he had to do the show. He's like, this is like homework. And I'm like, sometimes it comes easy, but especially with Beverly Hills Cop, we had like Rosewood and Taggart, and we had, I even had the Chief in Detroit, and, all that stuff. And then Ronnie Cox character.
It comes easy just because of the fact that I have like the way that I do it. I have my own structure, and so I make sure I do the thing like I told you that I check for ages. How old was Stallone at the time? Things like that. How old was Bridget Nielsen at the time? Seeing the age difference, and then going from there, which makes it easier because then I can just type in, okay, he was 39 years old at the time when he filmed that. Actors are 39 years old right now. Usually, it does not say specific 39. It's a under 40 or some shit like that.
Well, I'll do a Google search when I do pick it by, I put 39-year-old actors, and then it'll be a Google list of, you click on it and it'll be everybody. But well, good to know.
Yeah, and what sucks though is that even that list, you'll look at it and it'll say 40, 41. That. Even though you put 39, you're still, it's kind of staying in that ballpark. So.
How did this movie come into your life, if you remember? In 86, you were, you and Brant were 74. You were 13?
Old.
No.
12.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was 15.
I don't know if I would have seen it. I don't think this would have been one. I probably would have waited until it got to cable or something.
Yeah, because it seems like...
Because I know when I was 12, the only thing I know for sure that I watched when I was 12, Transformers the movie, animated, for my birthday.
Sweet. Yeah, it had to be cable because I think I may have seen like Commando in the theater. I think I saw Predator in the theater, but like, yeah, some of these things. Yeah, it had to be cable. You ready to get to some listener opinions?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
I hated this movie.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I like it!
Opinions vary.
Out of the podcast wrote, quote, I highly recommend at Teddy Goldenberg's comic sequel to Cobra. It's even better than the movie, unquote. So I looked up that guy. He's got like, it's $12. It's 2 parts, but it's like he's making them himself. Like it's all drawn, you know, it's like artwork like I would do. Not maybe that bad, but it's like not really good. But it looks like it's fun. But I was like, maybe I'll buy it some other time. But right now I'm buying G.I. Joe figures, so I can't spend $12 on a comic book. Michael Strom, our friend over there, wrote, quote, I saw this forever ago, but don't remember much. Over-aggressive policing that would not fly in 2022 outside of Russia, maybe?
Nice.
Jason Bromley at Popcorn Promises wrote, quote, this is one of those great 80s movies they used to show on HBO all the time, and I always had to stop and watch it. This was Stallone at his peak. Phil has mentioned it before, but you see, this guy's badass car, his shitty apartment, and he's eating cold pizza for dinner. He pulls his giant gun out of his waistband and just lays it on the counter, and you're like, I want to be this guy when I grow up. I remember this being hardcore, too. Like when dudes get shot, it blows huge meaty holes in them. Then you have Bridget Nielsen, fresh off Red Sonja, so hot, exclamation point. The bad guy in this was legit scary. And I just remember his big knives, and he is hanging out in front of fire and worshiping the devil and shit. Basically, everything in this movie is just cranked up to 11, and it's awesome. It's also the reason I still think gloves with fingers cut out are cool. So I did look, and I'm like, yeah, I thought he had no fingers in his glove, but he did have regular gloves on, like driving glove, whatever, shooting gloves, whatever. I don't think they make shooting gloves, but anyway. Joel Merle at GMV Tattoos wrote, quote, always been a fan, 80s macho exploitation at its finest, unquote. And then Brett Dodson saw it this morning, and he wrote, quote, I think I lost 30 IQ points while watching Cobra. What a dumb movie. A complete waste of time. I have a feeling that large piles of 1980s cocaine was behind the many bad decisions made in this film. Both the hero and the villain are nonsensical and one-dimensional. The lazy writing is an insult to the viewer's intelligence, and there are plot holes so big that you could drive Cobra's 1950 Mercury through them. I give this terrible turd of a movie 2 hearts, which is generous because it's 2 more hearts than it deserves.
Nice.
Unquote. So, yeah, I was like, I said, well, you got to hear the back, like behind the, like with Stallone not talking to anybody. With, like, I'm even wondering if Gonzalez was like, hey, man, what's our partner? Don't talk to me.
Well, see, he's not far off. He was thinking cocaine was the problem, but it was basically Bridget Nielsen's pussy that he was addicted to.
Yeah. Well, and Stallone's ego. Yeah. Ego and pussy, fucked it all up.
Yeah, ego and pussy don't mix.
Unless you're on a de armas. So, yeah, whatever that means. So, are you ready to discuss this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, real quick. On a side note, Ana de Armas, I saw this thing, one of those TikTok bullshit things, or YouTube, whatever, was where she got her first lead in a role, and so she just learned it phonetically because she didn't know English. So she just learned it phonetically, and then they changed it, wrote something different. And then she gets in there to read it, and she reads the same thing that she knows. And they're like, wait a minute. And then they realize she doesn't speak English, but she did phenomenal all the way through. And they're like, holy shit. So,
and what was that for?
I don't know if I don't think that was for that movie she did with, what's that guy's name that does the scary movies? Quentin's friend who's in Inglourious Bastards. He directed Hostel.
Oh, I don't know.
Something with an E. Everybody's yelling at me now. What's his name, Chip?
Probably. They probably are. But I was going to say, because I was like, with what you're saying, there's no way that could be like Knives Out. Because there was too much to Knives Out for her to just be like, I'm going to do it phonetically.
Yeah. No, Knives Out. Yeah, she was so good in Knives Out. But,
yeah. And I think that was for me personally, my first like real introduction to her, I think. And so watching Knives Out,
Eli
I was
Roth.
Like, wow. Ah, yes,
yeah.
Okay.
Knives Out. You're just like, I was just like, I like this girl. Like, she's cute, she's fun. Like, you root for that character. Like, you don't want her to be guilty. Like, you feel for her.
I can't wait for the sequel.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I'm sad that he fucked up Star Wars, but
everybody is. But like I said, there's more people than Rian Johnson behind Star Wars. So for them to let him go with it, and then everybody blame one guy, is like, come on, somebody gave him the go-ahead. So, that's their fault. Oh, yeah, that's what I was doing. Hang on, Chip. I'm looking for her first film. Everybody else is yelling at us. No.
That is not the Eli Roth film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's been in 32 films, but that's because she skyrocketed. I think she's in Gray Man is what I heard.
Oh, nice.
Maybe Sex Party and Lies.
Maybe.
That's from 2009. Because all the others are like Spanish named. The Boarding School, there's a TV series. Blind Alley, maybe in 2011. But anyway. Because, she didn't do Knock Knock is the one I was thinking of. That was in 2015. So, and then Exposed with Keanu Reeves, which I started to watch and was like, ugh. Okay, now let's discuss this film. After a failure of negotiations between a lone armed gunman and law enforcement during a hostage crisis at a Los Angeles supermarket, what was that called? The King Supermarket? Something.
Something the King.
The LAPD summons Lieutenant. Get Cobretti. Yeah, get Cobretti. Yeah, we should. And the other
but it was stupid.
Yeah.
The stupidest thing about that was that he turns to him and says, call the Cobra.
Yeah.
Not call Cobra.
Yeah.
Because it's his nickname. Call the Cobra. I was like, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's a lot of stupid stuff in this movie, but yes.
But there's one thing I can say is a huge plus, everybody.
Uh-oh. What is it?
This movie did not start the whole trend in the 80s of showing bare ass.
Oh, of dudes, bare asses? Yeah. Lethal Weapon did.
Weapon,
and then Robin
Van
Hood.
Damme
Robin Hood, Van Damme. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Summons Lieutenant Marion Cobretti, Stallone, a member of its elite division known as the Zombie Squad. Cobretti, addressed by his code name Cobra, or as Chip says, the Cobra, infiltrates the store, locates and negotiates with the gunman. Negotiates? Who threatens him?
Negotiates with bullets.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Calling him a dirtbag, and you wasted the dude, so I'm going to waste you.
Yeah. Who threatens him by speaking of a vague and unknown organization known as the New World, a supremacist group of social Darwinist radicals that despise modern society and believe in killing the weak, leaving only the strongest and smartest to rule the world. So I agree here that they didn't dive into that part, that you could have went more with the organization, like who they like. It's like a Fight Club, and like they said, like all these guys that are chasing Cobra later, they're like steel workers and bikers, and they work on the docks and like all these different things.
See, I honestly think if they were to redo this and do it as an actual like I don't know, like an HBO Max type of series
Mhm.
where they could flesh this story out really well
Mhm.
to where they keep running into guys that are doing bad shit all over the city and
Yeah.
stopping them and realizing they're actually all part of the same,
It'd be. Did you ever?
fraternity of fuckheads.
Did you ever see the movie The Hunt?
I don't think so.
It was where like they're hunting, like they're people who don't go by their beliefs. So these people are hunting them. It's like Democrats against Republicans, pretty funny, or Republicans against Democrats. But they get into the store and she's like, "I need your help," blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, she starts realizing like, "Wait a minute, like that's bullshit. You say I'm here, but there's a tax stamp here for Tennessee on my cigarettes." Like, and that's how she knows that they're lying. It's way cool, but they're like part of it. And you're like, she came here for help and now you guys are part of it. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Cobretti then kills the gunman by throwing a knife at his abdomen and then shooting him dead. So yeah, you're the disease. I'm the cure. As the hostages.
The beginning, I think, was probably the worst of the whole movie. I think
Because
some of the lines that he said and just the way, the way the whole beginning with the whole get the Cobra and just the way,
build up. Yeah. I was thinking that.
And then it was like after that was done,
Mm-hmm.
the rest of it to me like evened out pretty good.
Yeah.
When other people were introduced, when his partner was really there with him and them dealing with stuff together and dealing with her and stuff, that was all kind of evened out. It was just that beginning where it just felt like it was like pushed into your face that he's the badass, he's awesome, kind of a thing.
Well, I was thinking that too. You never saw the original Mad Max, but there's a thing that when you're introduced to Mad Max, you just see like a car sitting there. You see like the back of his head, like he's looking in the rearview mirror. You see his glasses. Then you see a close-up of his glasses. You see the side view mirror. You see all this stuff. And then when he finally chases him, gets out of the car, then the camera backs up and you see, Max Rakatowski. Anyway, very cool. As the hostage and bodies are removed from the store, Cobretti is admonished, but it's admonished. Why? I made that a B. What am I, dyslexic? I was like, this word makes no sense. Yeah.
Dyslexic.
Exactly. Cobretti is admonished by Detective Monty Robinson for his seeming disregard for police procedures and protocols. So you could also see where the New World would be like, fuck this guy. He thinks he's better, but we're smarter. We have rules. He doesn't, whole thing. Procedures and protocols. Harassed by reporters, Cobretti admonishes them for failing to prioritize the safety of potential victims. Little does everyone realize at the time that the supermarket hostage crisis is only one of a string of recent and seemingly unconnected acts of violence and murder that have broken loose in Los Angeles, perpetrated by the same supremacist group the supermarket gunman mentioned. So then he goes home. And I wrote here, it's funny how Cobra lives in a building with a big Pepsi sign on it. Like, it's not a factory. It's just an apartment with a big Pepsi sign on it. And then has a gunfight right in front of it. Also
for
funny.
whatever reason, puts his paper that he doesn't want anymore in the grill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, throw that shit away, bitch. Also funny how he is too lazy to take a bite of pizza. So he uses his scissors to cut off a piece and then just eats it and puts the whole thing away. It's like you have one piece of pizza. Like all you had to do is grab it and take a bite. Like, but at the time, this was badass. I wanted to be a cop like this guy, not knowing that a cop like this doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Model and businesswoman Ingrid Nielsen later becomes the New World's priority target after witnessing their members and their leader, only identified as the night slasher, Thompson, going on a killing spree. She is placed under protective custody of Cobretti and his partner, Sergeant Tony Gonzalez Santoni, after a failed attempt on her. When several more failed attempts are made on their lives by various people connected to the New World, Cobretti theorizes that there is an entire army of killers operating with the same modus operandi, rather than a lone serial killer with some associates. But his suggestion is rebuffed by his superiors. So, in here, it's where she's in the hospital. There is that cool scene. It's like a slasher movie. It's like Friday the 13th when they're in the hospital, or Halloween when she's in the hospital, and you're like, oh shit, like these people are dying. And he's almost going to kill that girl, pulls his knife out, he's going to kill the girl. I'm thinking, to go back, he's wearing those glasses all the time. For one, that annoys me with people, where I've told you, like, I'll be talking to you and you'll have your sunglasses on, and I'm like, Chip, like, even though it's real sunny outside, I'll take my glasses off because I like seeing people's eyes. Yeah. And for one, I hate that, so he looks like a dick because he's wearing sunglasses all the time. For two, like filming that, like to not have the camera reflected in your mirrored sunglasses and not have you move too much. And then there was a part later, I didn't put in here, but they made a big giant knife of that guy, so that, because they couldn't get the glint off the knife, like to reflect. So they made a bigger knife so that they could get it to reflect, and they were going to film it in forced perspective, so it looks like it's in the foreground. But it actually, Brian Thompson was like, I don't think that they ever put that shot in, but he goes, but yeah, I remember they made a big knife, and he cut himself a couple times on that knife. It was specially made by Stallone and this knife maker. And that's what sticks with me, which we'll get to later. But, however, the LAPD agrees with Cobretti that it will be safest if he and Knudsen relocate from the city. So, like I said, the whole hospital thing was cool. Like them being, her hiding and the nurse. And they said there were more things I didn't put in here because there were too much. But like that nurse being killed, there was more of that. That first victim that was killed, like they cut off her hands, and I don't know if her head, but cut off her hands, and like it was way more brutal. And then sent a package.
So going for a Manson type of a thing of it, just a group that's
well, and it's funny because they talk about later in the reviews, like it seems like this was almost at the end, but it was 86, like the end of that. Let's just blow them up, gore, like canon type films, that then they were like, no, let's dial it back. Cobretti becomes romantically involved with Ingrid shortly after venturing out into the countryside, but Nancy Stock Garlington, the New World's second in command and right hand, infiltrates the police team escorting the Cobretti party and compromises their whereabouts. So I like how, and then it says, despite Cobretti's suspicions and mistrust of Nancy, he does nothing, and the party spends the night in a motel complex. So when he catches her on the phone, he's like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, the phone's broken. He's like, why didn't you call there? She's like, oh, the phone's broken. And I'd be like, let me go call my buddy. I'll just go to Tony's room and be like, hey, Tony, is your phone working? Yeah, it works fine. Okay, thanks, Nancy. You're under, but then we wouldn't have a movie, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So the organization moves in at dawn. That's another one where I'm like, why do they attack after they're getting out? They're getting in their car. Like, attack overnight and you'd surprise them all.
And I mean, obviously, you got to think the timing was perfect, that they're just pulling up just then.
Yeah.
Kind of a situation, and she's running out to say, hey, they're over there. But if they would have edited it so good, if they would have made it to where that guy was still the mastermind, it would have made more sense that she's the link.
Yeah, exactly.
Between him and the other guy.
That he recruited internally. Yeah. Well, and then the other thing that annoyed me, although it's one of those funny things, we understand it's a movie, it's fun, it's whatever. That's the thing where I don't look at this movie like, oh, it's a waste of my time. I go, that was fun. I am glad I didn't buy it. It was still fun. I enjoyed it. Was he's sitting there putting that fucking machine gun together and then turns to her and goes, what, can't you sleep? No, I fucking can't sleep. Fucking asshole. Go to your room. Go somewhere. Go to Tony's room. Like, Jesus Christ.
Can you wait until we wake the fuck up
Yeah,
to put all those bullets in there?
It's like, come on. With barely enough time to react, the attackers stormed the motel complex, wounding Gonzalez in the process, killing several members, but with more swarming into the town.
Does he get hurt every damn time?
Who, Gonzalez? Did he get hurt in Dirty Harry? I forget.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you need the hero. That's the thing. Well, and that's he's probably like, okay, I understand. This guy's the lead. Like, when I become a lead, then I don't die, So, yeah. The wounding Gonzalez in the process. Killing several members, but with more swarming into the town, Cobretti and Ingrid escape in a pickup truck. When the truck is severely damaged from the chase, the duo cut through a grapefruit plantation to escape into a nearby factory. So, So then I wrote here. So I thought that guy was done. The guy in the car chase from before, which was a cool car chase. I like that.
Yeah.
But they said again with editing that the Night Slasher's car slammed into the boat first, and then he comes around the corner and he slams into it too. And then they had to edit it to where his face was a look of, oh shit, we're gonna hit a boat, but the look was, oh shit, Night Slasher hit the boat. So, but that chase was cool, and especially they go into the parking garage, and I'm like, where's that scene from the trailer? And then he comes fucking barreling out of that second floor, and you're like, awesome. But that guy he's chasing in the white car, I'm like, okay, he's gone. And then the guy shows up in the steelworks factory, wherever they are. And so I'm like, so right here I would kind of like to see a short film of that guy that was chasing Cobra in the white sedan earlier and then was trying to kill him with the sniper rifle. Like, just follow his character, like have it on the DVD like those Marvel things were, those little short films of connected. So it'd be cool to see him being like, motherfucker. And then when he's going to shoot and he misses, he's like, God damn it. And then he's got to get over there. And then all of a sudden when he gets poured, like, you feel bad for him when he gets that gasoline poured on him. Cause then he's like, know that he's like, poor guy. He just wants, he's trying to be, he's, and maybe
Cobra's
even,
the bad guy.
Maybe even his short film is his character is realizing like, maybe I'm not that smart, or maybe this isn't a good New World Order. Maybe you shouldn't be in this. Which I just thought of New World Order, and then I was going to put Hulk Hogan in it. Huh? Weird. Yeah. Anyway. That's for you wrestling fans. Brand's like, what?
Kevin Nash would work.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you got a dark-haired, anyway, Hogan, dark mustache, whatever. I hate that look. Cobretti was defeated most of the New World by this point, with the few remaining members following them into the building. Cobretti eliminates every member, and the Night Slasher accidentally shoots Nancy, leaving just himself. So I put here for this is a fact. For the Night Slasher's monologue in the lead up to the final fight, Brian Thompson did the scene with the script supervisor standing in for Stallone, who was busy watching a basketball game on TV.
Wow.
It's like, Jesus, like, you hear that about...
And Stallone wonders why people don't want to give him the rights back
to Rocky.
Because he's a fucking dick.
Yeah, and the same thing with... I heard that about Marlon Brando, that could have been a contender scene in On the Waterfront. Mm-hmm. He wasn't there, and Rod Steiger had to act to nothing and just had to... And that's why they say it's really cool, even if you did a scene with an actor that didn't have to be there, but they still show up and they're behind the camera and they're Jack doing Nicholson. The lines back. Yeah, and you're like, awesome. So Cobretti and the Night Slasher engage in a vicious melee combat. So, first of all, when he's standing there and it's almost a push-in, not a full-on push-in, but he's standing there and he's like, this is where the law stops and I start. And then all of a sudden she attacks him. Now, I like that because it's almost like female Thor when Natalie Portman's like, I'm trying to come up with a thing like, here comes the thunder. No, hammer this, motherfucker. Like, no, I can't come up with it. Yeah. And then, so for him to be all cool and then have her like jump on him and he doesn't get to shoot. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then, but then the Night Slasher shoots her. Cobretti.
Did you notice though that every scene, like if somebody that was taller than him, they'd somehow figure out a way to make them not look so much taller than him? Because even when they were looking at those trinkets or whatever, and when he says, "I'm not going to, no sale, sorry," and he walks away.
Yeah.
When she comes over to talk to him, she leans against something so that she's not so tall,
so she's
like
not
towering
6 foot.
over him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, when my wife, I've told this story before, but when my wife was in Vegas, they went to the wax factory, the wax museum. And she said, she goes, I could beat up all of Hollywood. She goes, they're all like little people. She goes, like Tom Cruise, Stallone. And I go, but Arnold and The Rock are like 6 foot, aren't they? And she's like, yeah, but still you think they're bigger, but they're just, normal size or whatever. And so it's like, oh, like Brian Thompson, I think, is 6'2". So yeah. And it's the old story of, there's an old actor called Alan Ladd from Shane. When they filmed Shane, they had to dig a trench for the girl to walk in next to him while they're walking outside so that she was below him or at his level. And it's like, oh, and that's why I think they like putting him and Veronica Lake together, because they were the same size. They were like 5'3". Or something crazy. But yeah, Stallone's like 5'6", or Tom Hanks is, and Stallone's like 7, whatever. And it's like, and then you're like, I remember we used to be like, oh, what the fuck is his name? The Penguin from Batman. Why can't I think of his name?
Danny DeVito.
Starts with a D. I wanted to say Dom DeLuise. I wanted to say Don. So I knew it was Don or Dom, and it was those. Anyway, Danny DeVito is like 4'9", and you're like, wow, they're just a little above Danny DeVito. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Cobretti and the Night Slasher engaged in a vicious melee combat inside the steel mill, ending with the latter being impaled in the back by a large roaming hook, which transports him into a furnace that burns him alive. So if you're fans of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's your thing. Hasn't been done since 1974. There you go. In the aftermath, Cobretti's department arrives and begins cleanup of the town, rendering medical aid to Gonzalez. Detective Monty appears apologetic, but confronts Cobretti again about his lack of regard to police protocol, offering to discuss the issue over a long dinner. Now, I don't remember that part, because I was reading through this right about then. I don't remember him saying dinner. Cobretti punches Monty instead, before he and Ingrid ride away on one of the motorcycles left by the New World. The end. So
forgot about the gummy bears.
A little. Well, we said he got helped. Gonzalez, rendering aid to Gonzalez. I said that. I just didn't say the.
So medical gummy bears.
Yeah, exactly. Medicinal. Yeah. So one of the only facts that I did share with Chip was Stan Bush's song "The Touch," heard in Transformers the movie, was originally written for Cobra. So I was trying to figure out like where that would have played, but probably at the end, like at the very like credits. But, yeah. So the movie.
What did play though?
What?
I'm sitting there and I'm like, this sounds familiar. Like the song starts playing. I'm like, this person sounds familiar. And so I stop it. Yeah, John Cafferty, because he's the one who did all the Eddie and the Cruisers music.
Oh, that's the guy. Okay, yeah, I was thinking like this has a familiar sound. Yeah.
Well, what was weird is because I'm like hearing it at first, and I'm going, it sounds like Stallone singing, but that can't be right. But
on the dark side, Stallone singing on the dark side. Yeah. So the movie went on to gross $160 million. Over 6 times its estimated $25 million budget. According to the New York Times, the film was still considered a disappointment because its $48 million at the box office in the U.S. did not live up to the success of Rambo. So I put here, what is it, if anything? And then also, so they edited this down, not only because it was X-rated and they had to get through the MPAA, but also then they were like, well, we're going to be we're coming out 2 weeks after a movie called Top Gun comes out. And we need to make it a shorter film so we can play more times in the day than a 2-hour movie. So they make it 89 minutes.
Strategy. Got it.
Exactly. What is it, if anything, that or something that sticks with you from this movie?
Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah, not the knife. Mine is a knife. Mine is that opening scene, of course. I'm the disease, you're the cure. I mean, you're the disease, I'm the cure. I always fuck that up.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably many different things, but I remember, like, from the get-go, I was
Bridget
so
Nielsen.
stupid for her
Yeah.
that, like, I'm watching this and haven't seen it in forever. And when I'm watching it, I realized how much I would just sit there and watch her just talking.
Yeah.
It's like, God,
Yeah.
oh my God, like, she's talking and she's hot and everything. Like, I was stupid for this girl. So.
Did you get a boner and you were like, honey, go away, hang on? Or you were like, honey, come in here, take care of my boner. And she's like, wait a minute, is that because of her or because of me? And you're like, because of you. Yeah. Reviews. Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus reads, quote, a disengaged Sylvester Stallone plays, again, a disengaged Sylvester Stallone plays the titular Cobra with no bite in this laden action thriller, queasily fixated on wanton carnage and nothing else, which is true. In 1987, Canon Films, along with Warner Brothers, attempted to make a sequel, Cobra Part 2, but the film never materialized. In May of 2019, at the Cannes Film Festival, Stallone discussed that a remake is in development in the form of a television series. By September of the same year, he confirmed the project is moving forward with Robert Rodriguez serving as director and creator. The studio involved have not yet decided whether it will be a film or television adaptation. So his quote was like, it's in his hands now. Like, it's his baby.
Oh,
so
sweet.
It's like, cool. So
that's awesome.
I give this movie 3.5 out of 5. Wonder if I should do 3. What do you give it?
3.
Do you wait for me to vote, Chip? Or do you already have your voting in your head?
3 afterwards. Okay. I was like, after I got done, I was kind of sitting there going, because that whole beginning and how, like I said, it's a good thing that everything's smoothed out, but it's also a bad thing that everything's smoothed out. There was nothing about it afterwards that made it go, holy shit, fuck yeah, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I like the chase scene and you know, all those little things. So I was like, okay, that was cool. But yeah, 3.5 might be a little more. Yeah, maybe you've talked me down again. Maybe 3. So now, do you want to finish wrapping this up, or I gotta find my Phil's film favorite while you discuss.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, so let's say nobody saw this movie and they tuned in to listen, or what would you tell? Let's say one of the new kids that work at your store. What would you be like? You know, they're like,
I already
did
said,
Cobra?
like, one of the guys I was talking to, he's like, so what are you doing? I go, well, I didn't watch the movie last time, and I wasn't part of that podcast. I said, so we're doing one this time. And I go, but the connection is like, you know, those cops that just are outside the law kind of cops that just kind of do their own thing, walk their own walk like that.
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me and goes, really? And I go, that was the 80s, son.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was just like, oh, okay. And he just walked away laughing. And I was like, there, I did it.
Yeah.
I explained it all right there.
That's funny.
Because the one that walks his own walk and gets the girl every time.
Yeah.
I would have loved, you know, if we were to do, if Robert Rodriguez does this now, it needs to be a thing where she comes on to him and he's like, I'm gay. Boom, done.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like, over.
Or
a badass can be gay. How about that? Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Exactly. I was watching something like that. There was a part where she says, have you ever had anybody? And he goes, you mean a woman? And I'm like, oh, he's been in a gay relationship. He's asking, like, she's asking. So he's like, oh, you want to know if I've ever had a woman? No, me and Tony kind of sometimes go around. It's like, wow.
Yep.
So,
well, and they could have played off that whole thing if you were to do it now, because it'd be Marion. Hey, that works.
Yeah. Which, of course, if anybody didn't know, part of the thing was that, but I think it was just whatever. But John Wayne's name was Marion Morrison, was his original name before he became an actor. So part of that, like, he's a tough guy. And then you're like, wait, your name is Marion? So are you ready for Phil's film favorite of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I got that Shaw Brothers collection, right? This big box set. And so I hadn't been watching it for a while. So I was like, oh, let me pick back up where I left off. So I watched a movie called, damn it, hang on. Let me just go back to find out the first one.
Damn it, hang on.
That's right. So I watched Challenge of the Masters from 1976. And then I watched The Executioners from Shaolin. So this is from 1977. It's a couple unite. She is fluent in crane style of kung fu and in tiger style. Or he in tiger style, sorry. They have a son, but the boy's father is killed by the evil eunuch Pai Mei from Kill Bill. Disguised as a girl, his mom trains him in crane style while he secretly learns tiger style from his father's training manual. So his father, like, kind of like in Chinese heritage, like you're supposed to be taught by your father, like, and for years it was like you pass on the martial arts, you do all this stuff. And so the father kind of the father's so focused on beating Pai Mei that he's like, this is what I'm going to do. And Pai Mei, it's funny, Pai Mei's like a eunuch, but when you go to kick him in the groin, he can like suck in like that, and your foot gets stuck in this hole that's in there. Like, and so then he like backs up and drags his father. So
gross.
But so the kid growing up is like dressed as a girl and is learning crane style from his mom, which is that kind of weird stuff. And then the father's not really.
I'm thinking of just Shang-Chi right now.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but like a female art, more like a ballet, and then not the tiger style.
Because that's what the mother taught. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
But what else is cool is that in here they have a little thing that's kind of cool. Was part of that crane style is there's a part where they try to knock her down and they can't. Like she's showing, like she's doing a show in front of people. Mm-hmm. But then in bed, when she marries this guy, she gets in bed and puts her knees together. And she's like, if you can get my knees open. And he can't because it's her crane style. And he's trying to. and then kind of weird and odd is her dad goes, like, here's how to do it. And he's like, oh. So then he like punches her in the stomach, like to make her like lose her, not real hard, but to make her lose her focus of like, because she's kind of sitting like focused. And when he does that, she's like, what? And then he pulls her legs down and like, haha, I got it. And then they have the baby.
You know, automatically I was thinking, like, because you were talking about how she had her legs closed for a crane style. And I was like, well, he should have shown her doggy style.
But Chip writes for pornos, everyone. And so the 1980s jokes, he's stuck in the 80s with Cobra, and then he's making it.
That's true.
So anyway, so then the kid now goes to read his dad's manual because his dad's dead, and he goes to open the manual, but it's been eaten by moths. So he has to kind of learn.
Does he have to punch it in the stomach?
So he has to, no, the book opened by itself. And so he has to learn this tiger style. And so he's kind of making it up as he goes. But also this thing, when he was younger, he jumped on his dad's shoulders and was like, because he's got that crane style, so he can hold. So his dad couldn't get him off. So it was kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
So then the kid now grows up and is like, I'm going to go beat Pai Mei. And they're like, what? And what's cool about the Pai Mei thing, if you know Kung Fu movies, Pai Mei is played by the guy that was in Five Fingers of Death. So he was like the main star. And now he's playing like a guy with gray and everything. So he goes and he fights Pai Mei. But he throws Pai Mei off because he knows crane style and he knows tiger, but he's also made up his own kind of tiger. So when Pai Mei's trying to defeat, Pai Mei's like, what the hell? And then at one point, the kid jumps on Pai Mei's shoulders and he can't get him off. And Pai Mei's trying to hit him in the eyes and he's trying to block it. And then he does something to Pai Mei, and when Pai Mei isn't suspecting it, and then he jabs him in the eyes. And he's like, ah, and then they fall down and they roll down the stairs. And then Pai Mei ends up dying. And then at the end it says, It says, so Pai Mei was defeated by a combination of Crane style and Tiger style. The end. Dun, dun, dun. And I was like,
And in my
awesome.
head, I'm seeing this guy beating up the master from Remo Williams.
No, this guy was more badass than the master from Remo Williams. He's a little short British guy who wasn't even. We did Remo Williams on the show, by the way. Everybody go back and listen. Me and Jason Bromley. But no, he's more. Pai Mei was more like Quentin wrote it in Kill Bill. Like he's got the long white hair with the beard,
Badass.
and pretty cool looking. So yeah. So are you looking up that guy, or no?
Yeah, I'm looking up. Hold on.
Okay, but Chip's looking up some shit before we get on with. He's looking up who that guy was.
It is Joel Grey. Okay.
Yeah. Why? What do you know Joel Grey from?
Well, he's Jennifer Grey's father.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy
That's why
shit.
when she did her nose, when she got the actual nose job, her nose looks like his.
Oh wow.
It was
Interesting.
modeled after his nose. Yeah. Like
Oh, wow.
I don't know if she said in an article something totally different to try and throw it off, but if you look at his nose and her nose, it's the same fucking nose.
Wow.
So she didn't want her mommy's nose; she wanted her daddy's nose.
Yeah.
And so her mommy gave her shit, and it was a whole like psychological mind fuck for her. But yeah, I've been watching the Old Man TV series on Hulu with
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, and he's in it.
Oh, cool. I wasn't sure if he was still alive. That's awesome. Oh, I love that. Another reason to watch The Old Man.
Yep.
So come back on August 19th for...
This ain't no game, Flash.
Joe Hallenbeck's a private detective who's run out of luck.
If you touch me again, I'll kill you.
2 for 2.
Told you.
Jimmy Dix
I like Prince.
is an ex-quarterback who was thrown out of football.
Another tragic tale of wasted youth. You're nobody. Shh. Don't tell anyone.
They were trying to clean up their acts
You vacuum, I'll dust.
when they got dragged into the dirty world of sports corruption.
So you're gonna bribe some senators to legalize gambling? Legalize sports gambling.
Now,
Son, we're going to a ball game.
they've got one shot
What am I gonna do? Point it at the bad guys and shoot!
to get the goods on the bad guys.
But just once, I would like to hear you scream.
Play some rap music. Out of ideas, man. Take your best shot.
If they don't kill each other first.
That was a bomb? Either that or a hell of a factory recall.
Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans, the last Boy Scout.
Danger's my middle name.
Mine's Cornelius. Tell anybody I kill you.
That's right. From, I didn't put a year here. From 1991, it's The Last Boy Scout.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to do black comedies, like owned black comedy, apostrophe, as in possession. But also as in they're kind of black comedies. But anyway.
You can't put those together, possession and black. What the fuck?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got canceled. Oh, well. Yeah. Oh, you know what I meant.
Shane Black, people. Shane Black.
That's right. That's right. Maybe I'll change that. Shane Black comedies. Yeah.
Yes.
But then again, they're like action movies too. So anyway, we'll figure it out what it's going to be called. But yeah, we're doing Last Action Hero and The Long Kiss Goodnight up over my shoulder. And
Last time.
no, that's what I said. I said Last Boy Scout. You don't hear me. And Long Kiss Goodnight. Yeah, I watched that the other day, and then I wrote Chip. I was like, Chip, you know who fucking the bad guy from Thief is the guy that takes the tickets that lives in the theater Last Boy Scout in Last Action Hero, fucking motherfucker. And Chip's like, oh yeah. Anyway, and then my wife got home, and I'm like, honey, I just gotta wait until he gets sucked in to the thing. And so those guys come around. Our guy from Die Hard and Lethal Weapon come around. He's in the back of the truck, and it starts playing AC/DC. Before that, it was playing something else, which I'm like, I had this soundtrack. Like, this was good. And then when he gets blown into the movie, then all of a sudden, Chip's working on a sex joke, gets blown into the movie. Then the music kicks way in, and then it's cool because then the bad guy gets out of the movie. Speaking of Michael Mann, so Robert Protsky, who was that guy, and then the big guy Tom Noonan, who played the bad guy, he was in Manhunter by Michael Mann.
Oh, nice.
Which, by the way, everybody, I got Heat 2 on audiobook. I'm going to listen to it at work through the weekend. I heard it's really good. It's action, like,
Who does the talking?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know if it even says, but let me try to see
somebody famous
while you're talking. Let me see.
Would be cool.
That would be cool.
I would love that.
I also
because I
ordered...
keep seeing on Twitter, Michael Mann has been posting like every day, like Heat 2 is coming, and then he shows like a picture of behind the scenes of him talking to Val Kilmer or whoever.
A guy named Peter Giles is a narrator. But yeah, they say after he does Ferrari versus Porsche or whatever it's called, or his Ferrari movie. He's working on an Enzo Ferrari movie with Adam Driver. After he does that, then he's going to jump right into Heat 2. But I don't know how Heat 2 is going to work as a movie unless you recast Val Kilmer, because he can't talk like normal unless you just do it, But it's, I think, tough for him to not breathe and hold that hole while he tries to talk, like a little difficult. So who knows? But he says that that's what he's working on next. And what Heat 2 is, it goes after the crime, and then it goes like before, like how the group got together, and kind of Al Pacino's story and stuff. And Al Pacino, I found a little thing the other day where Al Pacino... Go ahead.
Are they going to do like an Englishman type thing, where they're going to make people younger and do kind of like a
Irishman?
Irishman.
Now who's fucking up titles? Look, I feel like fucking Andy, Adam, whatever. Anyway, Goldeneye. Can't think of that.
Okay.
Victorious.
I am invincible.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? Adam. Anyway.
Don't remember.
It's an English guy, Chip.
We're old people. We're old. We can't remember shit.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I think maybe it'll just get other guys that look like them, but it's going to be weird if he's doing that. Like, I don't know. Because Val Kilmer's the only one.
Maybe that might work because the old man, the guy that they got to play the younger version of Jeff Bridges, he does his mannerisms and everything's so freaking perfect that it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, you have to watch it to be like, what the fuck? Because you would swear in the beginning that they just basically took Jeff Bridges and just made him look younger and
did a Tron Legacy.
Shit.
Yeah.
And that's not what it is. It's an actual actor playing the part and doing his exact mannerisms.
Remember when we saw Space Cowboys? And I was like, wow, who's that guy that looks like fucking Clint Eastwood? He looks like a young Clint Eastwood. Holy shit, that guy's amazing. Scott Eastwood. Like, hello, I'm going to have my son come in and be me because he looks like me.
Yep.
Jeez. Although Kiefer Sutherland wasn't in there being like, I'm the younger dad, Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
All right. Certain movies stick with you. They stay in your head and heart forever. So from all of us at My Cellular Heart, keep watching movies. You have anything to say other than that you want gummy bears?
Oh, gummy bears.
Right.
Damn you.
That's right.
Well, I got to go to the store, people. I'll see you later.
Oh, okay. Bye, Chip. Enjoy.
Bye.